In this part, I will present the argument against self-interest theory, and at the end, we will come to Brody's conclusion. Brody calls the argument as more radical approaches, which was claimed by two philosophers, Pritchard and Hutchinson. Pritchard is a British philosopher known for his research of German philosopher Immanuel Kant. Hutchinson, we introduced him in lecture 2. He is a philosopher who sides with sentimentalist position. These two philosophers argue against Hobbes' solution to the foundation of morality. For Pritchard, there is no need to prove that morality is identical with self-interest, because we have reason to be moral even if it is not our self-interest. So, for these two philosophers, their effort is to find out those other reasons for us to act morally. And these other reasons are not from psychological egoism. The first reason Pritchard considers is a strong sense of duty. In other words, if we think we have a duty to somebody or something, we will desire to do what the duty calls us to do. For example, as a parent, I have a duty to take care of my child, right? And also, as the child of my parent, my own parent, I also have a duty to support them when they are aged or when they are in need. Some people might also think it is their duty to take care of their pets, right? So here, a strong sense of duty is the first other reason for us to act morally. For the second reason here, Hutchinson, he mentions that we might also act morally for the well-being of others. He considers it is some sort of determination of our nature to study the good of others, or it is our instinct. The instinct is antecedent to all reason from interest, which will influence us to the love of others. For example, on campus, you see a blind person who is trying to cross the road, and there are vehicles around the road. Hutchinson considers normally we will just help the blind person without think whether it is our self-interest or not. Notice that both Pritchard and Hutchinson, they are actually discuss the motives of our action. Pritchard focuses on the duty as the motive, and Hutchinson focuses on our concerns of the well-being of others as a motive. In this regard, we could analyze a real situation. For example, in the case of charity, when donations are connected for refugees. For some people, they might donate because they think it is their duty to donate for the refugees. For other people, they might donate not because they consider that is their duty, but because they really care for the well-being of the refugees. In both scenarios, it is not their self-interest to act morally. So far, it sounds like for for Pritchard and Hutchinson, they seem successfully argued against the self-interest theory. However, here it is not that easy. Okay, so because here Brady he tries to slow down a little bit, and he takes a sudden turn to assuming that for Hobbes or other people who defend the self-interest theory, they probably will fight back here. And for those people, they will fight back with three claims. The first claim here is that when we look at examples of supposedly non-selfish actions, we often find that they are actually motivated by hidden consideration of self-interest. For example, if I cook good meals to take care of my family, it is my hidden consideration of self-interest. Um, myself, my self-interest probably is by taking good care of my family. I become a better mom or a better wife or a better daughter. So those are my self-interest. Okay, and for the second claim here, that is people who supposedly act from benevolent motives or from a sense of duty or from the concerns for the well-being of others are really acting to obtain the pleasure of seeing others happy or the pleasure of feeling that they are virtuous. So for that reason, they are really acting to obtain their own pleasure, and that is an act still motivated by self-interest. So in the case of the blind person, we help that person probably because we want obtain the pleasure of seeing the blind person to be happy, or we want to have the pleasure of feeling that we are good people, we are a good person. Okay. In the third case, the claim is that in any case we act to satisfy our desires, whatever they are, and that makes our actions motivated by self-interest, even in the scenario of donate to the refugees. Okay, those probably are still motivated by satisfying my own desire, because my desire is to try to helping them. Okay, so those are the three claims that Brady imagined for those people who defend self-interest theory. They are trying to use these three claims here to argue against Pritchard Hutchinson VU. Okay, so now the question is for the author Brady, what he is going to do. He's going to defend self-interest theory, or he's going to support Pritchard Hutchinson VU to support or defend other theory. It turns out Brady defends Pritchard Hutchinson viewpoint and against the self-interest theory. He argues against the three claims one by one in the last part of his writing here. Here, I only use the third argument, his objection to the third claim, to illustrate his point. In the third claim, it says no matter what our desires are, we act to satisfy our own desires, which makes our action motivated by self-interest. Uh, for Brody, his point is, even though actions are motivated by our own desires, but it doesn't have to see that they are for they are motivated by self-interest. And for those people who defend self-interest theory, he considered that their point can be put in the form of the upper table here. Okay, so given this table here, the plausible assumption that all actions satisfy a desire, for those people who defend the self-interest theory, they actually emptied the other category. Okay, and for that reason, it seems for those people, all actions are self-interest actions. And for Brady, he considered that there is a trouble with the upper table here, and he considered that the correct form of the table should be the orange one. He considered that we should change or we should define self-interest action as action done to satisfy desire for my own well-being. But for some some actions which are done to satisfy my desire, but it is not something for my own well-being, um, he considered that those actions can be put into the other category. Okay, so that means the other side of the table is actually not empty. And after this objection here, he comes to his conclusion. It is very clear for him that all actions are done to satisfy some desire of the agent. And we can still claim that not all actions are self interest because they are done to satisfy my desire, but not for my own well-being. And those are the non-selfish foundation for morality. So this is the entire content for lecture 3. So I hope you already have an answer to defend your own position about the relations between morality and self-interest. So you can either support self-interest theory or you can support Broad's position, which stands same as the Pritchard and Hutchinson view. So that is your choice. But no matter what your choice is, you'd better find a better argument to support your position. Okay, so that is all for today's lecture, and I will talk you soon in the next lecture.